This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 3 in the National Football League. Carolina Panthers at home looking to go 3-0. First time since 2015 when we know they started the season off 14-0. And not going to lie, the defense has started out this season in dominant fashion, but that was against the 49ers and the Bills. That wasn't against the Saints. And I told you that this offense was in trouble last week after you beat the Bills, but only scored 9 total points. Said you're in trouble because Cam Newton's biggest security blanket isn't available, and I'm not seeing the youngins getting involved in this offense the way that they need to. And until I see that, there's no growth here with this Panthers football team offensively. Now more questions have arisen after this showing at home versus New Orleans. We've got a lot to discuss. Saints. I liken the Saints to the Dolphins. And I think the Saints are the NFC version of the Dolphins. You don't know what you're getting from week to week with this team. But I've always said this. I will continue to say this until this group isn't together anymore. A team coached by Sean Payton and quarterbacked by Drew Brees will never win less than 7 games. And I know a lot of people that thought this Saints team was going to stink. They're going to be 5-11, 6-10 this year. A team, I'm going to repeat myself because I said it in the offseason when I picked them to go either 7-9 or 8-8. A team coached by Sean Payton and quarterbacked by Drew Brees will never win less than 7 games. This is why. Because when you don't expect it, you get this type of performance. Now, what I will say, the only thing that gives me a little hope with this team, unlike the Dolphins, 1, you got Drew Brees, and 2, I think there is hope for this defense yet. We'll talk about it here in a second because to the victors go the spoils. And we're going to start with the Saints. And this 34-13 ass thrashing that they dished out to the Carolina Panthers in BOA. But before we do that, first want to start by saying thank you for joining me here on Lockdown Coverage Saints at Panthers. If you want your comment read at the end of this breakdown, simply use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read at the end of this breakdown. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. I also have social media platforms on IG, Twitter, and Facebook. They're all in the description. Go ahead and follow and like those subsequent pages. And if you want to donate to the Louie T Network, there's a way you can do that. That's also in the description. There's a link there that you can follow that will take you straight to where you can donate. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show. But in any event, let's get to the proceedings this evening because the Saints were outstanding in this football game, and they started early, fast, and often in this game versus the Carolina Panthers in some good old-fashioned NFC South family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And the Saints went to Carolina with family business on the brain. And they had a plan and a method of how they were going to carry out a serious ass whooping, and they went out and they executed. Let's talk about it. We start on the offensive side of football, where we've come to expect this level of play from Drew Brees and company, but it wasn't what we got out of Drew Brees that was impressive. It was how it was dished out by Drew Brees and Sean Payton that was so impressive, because I feel like those two are starting to figure out, and more importantly, Sean Payton is figuring out, all right, how do I balance these backs? Okay, of the 3 backs, Mark Ingram is probably the most well-rounded. in terms of his ability to catch it, pass protect, and run it. In between the tackles, you saw his ability to run, make guys miss, run through arm tackles, get yards after contact. That's Mark Ingram in a nutshell. Of the three backs, Alvin Kamara is by far and away the most dynamic and explosive. So you want to get him out of space like you did on the touchdown run. And that was really all Alvin Kamara, really. His patience in the backfield, then finding a hole, making a jump cut, getting to the outside, and then outrunning the Panthers to the end zone. Did he step out of bounds? Maybe. Does it matter? No. It's a touchdown. Give the man his touchdown. So he's the most explosive of the group. You get him in on a screen and you get him out of space, he can score from anywhere on the football field. And then there's Adrian Peterson, future Hall of Famer. And I think what he brings is the most toughness out of any of these backs. He's the guy that's going to put his shoulder down, run somebody over, and if you're not careful, he can get outside and get explosive on the edge. And he almost had a couple of runs in this game. He's starting to get a feel for when to make these jump cuts, when to hesitate, when to just put his shoulder down and head down and go and get what's there. And I thought he looked effective in this game as well. And I think Sean Payton actually had a good feel for when these guys need to be in, who needs to be in, who has the hot hand right now, who should I stay with. And then I thought the ball distribution at the receiver position, I thought it was outstanding. And you're still missing Willie Snead. But even without him being in the lineup, Michael Thomas is your bell cow. You need to get it to him. Every now and again, you sprinkle in the big, long receiver that you have, Brandon, I forget his name. It'll come to me. But number 16, you know who I'm talking about, the one that caught the touchdown on the play action fake. Every now and again, Brandon Coleman. You sprinkle him in, okay, because he's effective and he can help. Then every now and again, you give Colby Fleener a couple little tosses and touches. And then, of course, the wild card, the X factor, is Lewis. Get him a couple touches, get him to rock out in space to see if he can help you. And I think they're starting to figure it out in New Orleans, how to get this offense on one accord, and more importantly, how to divvy up the touches and the snaps and how to call the offense accordingly. It looked flawless in this game. I thought they executed, thought they maximized their possessions, and they looked like a team that had figured out some things from weeks 1 and 2 to week 3. So that was encouraging if you're a Saints fan. I don't know if you want to take it and run with it, but it looked good against a Panthers defense that had been good up until this point. So, again, family business. You know how the family do it. You can't always take what you've seen in the previous 2 games, and none of those were divisional games, and apply it to this game. Obviously, these teams know each other, and it's easier to game plan and scheme against what they do. But nonetheless, the offense, I thought, looked really good and promising for the future of this season in 2017. As for the defense, they may have been more impressive than the offense. Now, there's still holes in this defense. You still can take advantage of this Saints defense. Don't get it twisted. But this defense looked more equipped to deal with some of the better offenses in the league. Not saying that Carolina is that, because they're not. But I didn't think Ken Crawley made that big of a difference, but obviously he does. All right, P.J. Williams on that interception looked like a legit cornerback in the NFL. When he jumped the route, he sat on that slant, jumped it, and ran the route for Devin Funchess and went and picked it off. And he went and high-point that football and snatched it out of the air like a grown man should when you think something is yours and you need to go get it. And he did. And so that was beautiful. And then to see the interception that your rookie Williams made at the safety position, that's top-notch, man. Damn, that's one hand scooping it off the turf. That's gorgeous, man. That's gorgeous. And then Kenny Vaccaro, there's been a lot said about Kenny Vaccaro. Is he on the trading block? Is he going to get benched? Thought he was outstanding, and he got a pick too to also be able to say, hey, man, get off my back. So I thought the defense was outstanding. They got pressure on Newton. They forced him to fumble. Trey Hendrickson got his first career sack, forced a fumble. Cam Jordan on the first possession that looked like was going to be a for sure Panthers touchdown. Okay, they moved it down the field, 15 plays. It was a gorgeous drive. And Cam Jordan blows the whole thing up on third down with a sack of Cam Newton. And so you're getting pressure on Newton. You're doing a good enough job stopping the run. Give credit to the Panthers. I thought the game plan early was very, very well put together. That first 15, we're going to get to that when we talk about the Panthers. So you gave up some yards in the run game early, but as the game progressed, you got better on the ground. You got stingier on the ground, and you gave up less and less on the ground. And so there were some things to be encouraged by your defense in this game. I still don't have any confidence in your defense to get it done. I'm chalking this up to the ineptitude of the Panthers. And I'm also chalking it up to the fact that you know those boys. And even though they got some new pieces and they got some guys that can do some things that you haven't been accustomed to seeing in Carolina, you still know those boys and the essence of what they're trying to get accomplished. And so I don't think this is who you are moving forward, but at least there's a glimmer of hope. Now you've put a shred of doubt. If this were a trial and you needed to be proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt, I've got a little bit of doubt in my mind as to this Saints defense being as bad as I thought it was after the first 2 weeks. Now I'm saying maybe they aren't that bad. Maybe they haven't committed that crime. It's a hung jury right now. The jury's still out on this Saints football team, this Saints defense. I don't worry about the Saints offense. Ever. Never. I never worry about the offense. It's always the defense, and it's always collectively this team and how are they functioning and where are they headspace-wise. Is everybody on the same page? Are guys disgruntled? Is this thing about to blow up? You never know. But there's a shred of doubt now to this defense being as bad as what I thought. Maybe they have a chance. I told you it's got talent on this defense, but can you put it together? I don't know, and I'm not willing to say that that's the case after this one game because, like I said before, you're the Miami Dolphins of the NFC. 1 week you can do this and look dominant, and in the next 2 games you can look like straight ass cheeks, like ass clowns out there, like hot ass garbage. And I say to myself, what happened to the Saints team that I saw go to Carolina and devour the Panthers? And there's no trace of them. So I don't know, but that was impressive. Nonetheless, in the division, family member, on the road, destruction, love it. One more of it. Panthers side of things. Let's start with the offense because this is going to be the undoing of this team in 2017. This offense, not only is it banged up, but I still think they're trying to figure some things out. I will tell you this. When you drafted Christian McCaffrey and Curtis Samuel in back-to-back picks in successive rounds, the first 15 plays you had scripted and that one play in the second quarter where Cam sprints out to the edge and then flips it to Curtis Samuel, the first 15 plays of the game and that play included was what I envisioned this offense looking like. I was excited because I thought I was going to see a different flavor. I thought it was going to be delicious and just something that would really get your salivating, your taste buds salivate. Oh, this Panthers offense is different. It's dynamic. You don't know what to expect. Those first 15 plays that were scripted reminded me a lot of the 2015 season where the run game was so dynamic because it was so different. There were so many shifts and so many different actions and fakes and the handoff here and ghost action here. Y'all were running option, triple option, all kinds of nonsense in the first 15 plays. It was gorgeous. Screens and jet sweeps to McCaffrey getting the ball in his. See, that's why I can never understand how someone can try to tell me you can't get the ball to one of your playmakers. Because the Panthers in the first 15 scripted plays, the first 4 out of 5 plays, they said, hey, Christian McCaffrey need to touch the football. First 3 out of 4 plays, they said, we got to get the ball to McCaffrey more this week. They made a concerted effort, so much so that in the first 4 plays, the man touched it 3 times. Anybody can do that for a playmaker in this league. I don't care who. If you want a guy to touch the football, he can touch it. You just got to make the concerted effort to say he's going to touch it. And the Panthers did that in this game. And I thought it was beautiful. It was music to my ears. Okay? I said, this is what I expected when I saw you make the selection of McCaffrey 8th overall and when I saw you go in the second round and go get Curtis Samuel. I said, this is what I was expecting. That double reverse or reverse, toss reverse, whatever the hell you want to call it, to Curtis Samuel, that was a thing of beauty. It was epic. The only thing missing was a touchdown there. Those first 15 plays out the gate, that's what this offense is going to have to. You don't have a choice now. Now that KB's went down, you know you're not going to have Olsen for at least the next 6 weeks or so. Now, I don't know the extent. You may know. I don't know the extent of KB's injury, but I'm going to tell you, it was not pretty. I don't think it's a season ender, but that man's going to miss at least 6 to 8 weeks, I'm thinking. And if that's the case, who you going to rely on? Devin Funchess? Demir Bird? Huh? That's who you? Shepard? That's who I'm supposed to be afraid of? Hell no. You're going to have to use these backs out of the backfield. McCaffrey's going to have to become a receiver, and so is Curtis Samuel. You're going to have to use the young fellas now. You don't have a choice. By force, you got to use the young fellas. So those first 15 plays, the way you move guys around and had misdirection and did a lot of trickeration, and there was a diverse nature to your offense, that's going to have to become the norm. And it should have been from day one. You should have been trying out stuff on the Niners. You knew they were garbage. Try shit on them so that you could go ahead and start using it in the games. Real games that you knew was going to come down to the wire, like the Bills game, like this game. In any event, you're going to have to get creative offensively. So the ball has been pushed into your court, Mike Shula. Find a way to get creative, bro. Use Christian McCaffrey. 9 catches, 101 yards. I like that. I'm going to need more of it. You don't have a choice. Curtis Samuel, I don't give a damn if you got to hand it to him. I don't give a damn if you got to throw it to him out of the backfield. I don't give a damn if you got to give it to him on a bubble screen, a tunnel screen, a slant. You better get that man the football. I know that much. You better turn back the clock and treat him like he's at Ohio State as an athlete. Backfield, split out wide, mismatch against linebackers. You better make something happen. Because you don't have the weaponry right now. You are short at the skill positions. You're missing your best tight end. You're missing your best receiver. You are in trouble. So you better figure it out. Defensively, my biggest gripe has always been with this Panthers team since 2014. Because I felt like in the 2013, 2014 range, you had the ability to get pressure on the quarterback. When Charles Johnson was still in his prime and could still get you double digits, you still had the ability to affect the passer then. You don't possess that ability anymore. You haven't for some time now. Even in 2015, I told you I didn't love what you had. I loved your interior and what K'Wan Short could do for you. But you need edge presence. Mario Addison and all these other bums you got out there on the edge, that's not good enough. And when you come up against teams that can protect the quarterback and got a quarterback that can spray you, like Drew Brees, you're going to get 22 of 27. Put on your skull. No interceptions because you're not pressuring the quarterback and making him do something stupid. And you're going to get touchdowns put on your head. And they actually ran the ball effectively in this game as well. It wasn't great, but it was effective enough to keep you off balance so that Drew Brees would have time to throw the football. And play action fake, like it did to Brandon Coleman, actually works when you're having success running the football. Do you think I pay attention to play action fake? Do you think Luke Kuechly, do you think Shaq Thompson pays attention to play action fake when the run's not working? No. They bite up when run has been effective. That's how Brandon Coleman gets 5 steps behind the nearest defender for an easy touchdown. You don't get after the quarterback. Your pass rush scares no one. It was cute against the Bills. It was cute against the Niners. It's not going to work against teams that can actually score. You got New England coming up, bruh. You think Tom Brady ain't going to carve you up for 3 and some change? And 4 or 5 touchdowns if this is the best you got? God forbid Thomas Davis missed as much of the game as he did this week in the future. And mayo has to be a big glob of mayo got to be slapped in the middle of the defense. Lord, help us all. You still having trouble in the secondary. You still haven't recovered from allowing Josh Norman to walk. Bottom line is, their secondary isn't the problem by itself. You know how this goes. You get pressure on the quarterback, your secondary looks better. The secondary looks better because you get pressure on the quarterback. They go hand in hand, okay? You need more pressure up front. And bringing back Julius Peppers as an honorary Carolina Panther to hang up his jersey as a Panther, you could have did that on a one-day contract. You didn't have to do that for a whole season. Because J. Pep ain't getting to nobody's quarterback. J. Pep is 877 years old, in case you didn't know. So while that was cute, that's not going to help you on the football field. So I worry about this defense and their inability to get to the quarterback without blitzing. And I worry about this offense. Because until I consistently see creativity in using the young weapons that you have, you're going to struggle to score points. You're going to struggle to score points. You scored a total of 45 points this season. 45. The Rams scored 46 in one game. And scored another 41 against a team you only scored 23 against on Thursday. You may not get to the amount of points the Rams have scored in 2 games this season, 46 and 41, 87 total. You may not get to that point until after week 6, the way you're going right now. Unless you change some things. Because there's not another 49ers on your schedule. You don't get another one of those. So you don't get to score 23 points by just forcing turnovers and pretty much blanking the other team. You don't get to score 23 like that anymore. You're going to actually have to score 23 points on your own merit, on your own volition. Because you can actually score yourself. Not because the other team is helping you score points. So I challenge this Panthers team to get after the quarterback. And I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you got a blitz. I don't care how you do it. Get after the other team's quarterback because you're going to have to do that. And I challenge Mike Schuler to get creative on offense because you're going to have to do that. That's not up for debate. That is not optional. If you do not get creative, we have a problem. Or you're going to run into more problems like 34-13 at the crib versus the Saints. And teams like them. God forbid this happens against Atlanta. They might score 40. Julio! You might be having nightmares. Y'all better tighten up, man. In any event, let's get to your comments out there for anybody that may be watching. Let's see. Blackbird Blitz says, stop being a public defender. Jury is not out on the Saints defense. Saints defense are who we thought they were. They are hot garbage, and Kenny Vaccaro is past his expiration date. Hey, look, man, that's y'all family business. I stay out of that. I'm just telling you from an objective outsider what I see, and there's a shred of doubt with this Saints defense. Maybe they're not as bad as I thought. Okay? Ken Crawley came back. They got a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. All right? Now, look, I still think they're the Miami Dolphins of the NFC, and this is what they do. They look great. And for a 4-week stretch, they could win 3 out of the next 4 and look awesome in doing so. Get back to 500 on the season, and then turn around and lose 5 straight. I've seen them do it before. It's not uncommon for them. I don't allow this to affect me, but I must acknowledge what I see. And that's all I'm doing. All right. No more comments. Okay, Who Dat for Life says, Saints defense needs better coaching. We have talent on this defense. I've never been a huge fan of D.A., Dennis Allen. He is what he is. We'll see what happens. Bottom line is, until you fix the defense and consistently get good efforts out of this defense, you will never be able to maximize the full potential of this roster. End of discussion. And really, you're running out of time because this is the last year of Peyton and Breeze together, I believe. I think this is it. I think Peyton's going after this year. I think Breeze is going after this year. And I think you start rebuilding. And the problem with rebuilding without a quarterback, when you don't have a legit defense that you can lean on, is that where do you go for stability? Can't go to the offensive side of football because your stability is your offense right now and has been over the last. Your offense is the reason you haven't been 4-12, 3-13, 2-14. That's been the stability. Peyton and Breeze have been this organization's stability over the last decade. You take those two guys away, and there is zero stability in this organization, and therefore you're now susceptible to the 2-14, 3-13, 4-12, 5-11 season. Without those guys, you're susceptible to that. With those guys, your floor is 7-9. You will never be worse than 7-9 because Drew Brees and Sean Payton won't allow it. You can be better than 7-9, but the defense is responsible for every win that you get over 7. Your defense is responsible for that. If your defense is 3 wins better than 7-9, you'll go 6-10 because your defense was good enough to get you to 6-10. But if they're not, your offense will be good enough to get you to 7-9. And with that, I don't think we have any more comments. Here we go. Who Dat for Life says, we don't play the players' strengths defensively. Again, that's like you said, and that speaks to coaching. That speaks to coaching. Cloud says, I hope the Cardinals upset Dallas to at least get above 500. It is what it is, man. Just be grateful that you're not below the Mendoza line. Who Dat for Life says, that would make sense because Sean is the part of the reason why the defense has been bad. He's partly to blame. I can't deny that. I can't deny that, but we'll see. There's a lot wrong with this organization. I've said it numerous times. And LL says, will Cam ever have a season like 2015 or was it just a fluke? It wasn't a fluke, but everything around him was perfect. It was the perfect storm. The setup for him in that season was remarkable. Everything he needed for him to be successful was right there in front of him. The schedule that they played that year, if I'm not mistaken, you played Tennessee that year, the Texans, the Colts, the Jag. It was the perfect storm. An easy schedule, a soft schedule, coupled with a division that wasn't good, so you were able to mop the division up with the exception of the Falcons, and everything kind of just fell into place for you, and then they got confidence, and it all just, like I said, it all swelled. It all kind of came together at the perfect time. He's capable of that. We know he's a good quarterback, but everything was perfect that year. I don't think they'll ever be able to duplicate that again. But in any event, it's going to do it for your man Louie T on lockdown coverage. Saints at Panthers. Saints dominate the Carolina Panthers in Carolina 34-13 in dominant fashion that I don't think many of us, including Saints fans, saw coming. Honestly, they may have seen a win potentially, but not in this fashion, in this manner, in which they utterly, totally disrespected the Panthers in their house. This was impressive, but is this what the Saints are about? I'm not sure about that. I don't think that's the case. Is this what the Panthers will be moving forward? I'm not willing to jump off of the Panthers' ability to right the ship yet, but even their head coach, Ron Rivera, isn't the same right now. It was a 4th and 5 in which the old Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, would have went for it. That man punted the football and then went straight into the end zone. Michael Pilardi kicked that thing 7 yards into the end zone, and they netted about 15 yards on that play, 20 yards. I'm not saying he should have kicked a 58-yard Graham Gano field goal, but what I am saying to you is scared money don't make money. And I know Ron has always been willing to put the game on the line and roll the dice. He just ain't confident that the offense is going to roll and something nice is going to come up. So he's not willing to roll the dice. That speaks volumes to his confidence or lack thereof in this offense. I'll say that, and I'll move on. So Panthers drop to 2-1. Saints get their first win of the season, go to 1-2 on the year, and they needed this win in the worst way right after a long day. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on Lockdown Coverage. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. You know where to find me. I got more breakdowns, including Vikings at home against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Case Keenum. Who knew? I didn't. So we'll break that one down, take a little hiatus, and come back, and we'll get the other 3 games of the day out of the way. Falcons, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers, and Titans, and Seahawks. So thank you for joining me. And if you want to donate to the Louie T Network, here's how you do it. Through PayPal. That's the link right there that you see on the screen. The link is also in the description, which you can click on, take you straight to where you need to go to donate to the Louie T Network. Again, doesn't matter how big or how small, I appreciate them all. And so I thank you for watching. And if you can't donate, all I simply ask is that you continue to support, watch, and like, share, and subscribe to the Louie T Network. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. I got more breakdowns coming. Where you going, man? It's lockdown coverage.